Good evening. Hey. Hello. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Chrissy. Say with some shimmer, also known as Whimsical Locks. And that's whimsical underscore locks on IG. I am up, I am activated. So if you want to check me out, be my guest. My page is currently public. Hit the follow button if you care. If you don't, just scroll by. Anywho, guess what today is? Today is day two. Day two. And tomorrow makes my 1 year anniversary. Can't wait. So, as promised, I've been counting down these past 5 days um, towards leading towards my 1 year anniversary, sharing tidbits of my journey throughout this 1 year. Okay, so without further ado, let me just jump right into it. And y'all know I had to be extra and organized. So this is pretty much what I'm covering this evening. So at least the colors did fade. I hate that it does that, but whatever. We're not gonna focus too much on that. My intros be like 5, 6 minutes long, and it just be dragging and taking up my life. But anywho, so with this today's segment of my 1 year lock journey, I will be discussing regrets that I had since locking up, um, advice to those considering locks. Also, I thought I could have sworn I added it in here and I don't see it. But before I jump into that, I want to get into um, my retwisting because I left some key pieces out that I want to make sure that you guys know in regards to my block journey. For starters, we do know I retwist by palm rolling. I started with, um, retwisting at the roots, and then gradually graduated from retwisting at the roots to palm rolling. But I left out how often I retwist, and this is why it's so important for me to share this with you guys because at first I started off doing it monthly. In my first 6, 7, 8 months, my first 6 months when I bleached my locks, bleach and dyed because these are bleached and dyed, not the black but the blonde. But when I bleached my locks, that was 2 weeks after a freshly dipped retwist. So therefore, I was gonna leave it alone, but the next morning I hated how it looked. So the following day, I retwisted literally 2 weeks after a retwist. Then I waited for about, I want to say 5 weeks after that because I felt like I put too much stress on my locks, being that I bleached and dyed and retwisted back to back. So I waited about 5 weeks before I retwisted my locks again and then went back to retwisting my locks monthly. Now, my last retwist was done 6 weeks post, the previous retwisting session, but 4 weeks I had retwisted my front row, and I have a video up about that, about me retwisting my front row retwist. And excuse me, I find that it may be necessary considering my perimeter where it tends to unravel pretty much. That's how I feel about it. Like it unravels. So by me, training it, retraining it, like, starting over with these in the front by retwisting every 2 weeks and leaving the rest alone, it also helps the rest of my locks to, wait a little longer. So don't be surprised if you see a video um, in the next day or 2 or 3 week or so where it appears as though my locks are freshly dipped. they're not, I do plan on retwisting. Um, I think I'm going to continue to retwist, like the front row retwist, 2 weeks after my initial retwist. So, I'm only going to do it the one time. I'm not going to do it every 2 weeks. It's only once after, you know, I retwist my full head. I will retwist 2 weeks later. So I will be retwisting the front of these babies, and maybe my photo shoot will look a little bit better. That I will have my front row retwisted because it looks really, really, really good. The only thing is that I will do different than I didn't do before is I will not be washing my locks. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it, you know, and just see how that turns out, because I'm still trying to train my locks, so I don't want to take out what's already there and no. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but in my previous video, like these things I tend to retwist more frequently now, my Cynthia's, because I'm trying to train them as well to stick and quit unraveling. So I've been doing that like within the last 2 weeks, retwisting and putting them behind my ear because I love having it fall over my ear. But, due to the circumstances of my hair growing away from the locks in my perimeter area, and because my Cynthia areas in particularly is so sensitive, um, delicate rather, I just want to make sure I have enough hair, you know, that will make that root strong so that I won't end up losing a lot. And so far, it's been doing its job. So kudos to me. All right, now back to our segment. I want to discuss regrets. Okay, so there's not many regrets that I have, but I do have a few. I like how I asked this question, and I talked about this in a recent video, but for my 1 year Lockversity journey, sake, I will bring it up again. But, like I'm a type of person that, I pay a lot of attention to detail, and I carefully analyzed, as you can see and hear if you watched my journey, or these last few videos in the last few days, how I went about things. Like I carefully analyze with detail my journey, and even while I'm in the process, I carefully analyze and pay attention to my locks and what they are doing, and if I need correcting or if it's something that I shouldn't have done. Like, so I know that the regrets are there. Okay, so overall, I'm just going to throw this up at the top because this is everyone's answer for those who start locks and love them. I only regret that I haven't started sooner. And yes, that is a fact. Like, that's going to be inevitable, like, for everyone. Our only regret is that we haven't started sooner because locks are really dope. They're so dope. It's so dope to have. It takes a lot of stress out of your day. You know, getting up ready for work and stuff like that. Like, you do not have to do anything to your hair other than spray, and that's just depend on how often, like spray with moisturizer and stuff, whatever your moisture routine is, and that depends on how often you require that, and that is takes like under a minute, 60 seconds. So, yeah, so back to my regrets. For the regrets that I do have, you heard me mention this time and time again within my 5 day countdown, but I regret not starting with the 2-strand twist. Why? Because I feel like I had a lot of hair when I started, and my hair is so springy that when I got in the comb coils, they sprung up without a problem, and they did its thing, the following month, and then they kept shrinking up again. So I feel like my length would have been a lot longer. I would have been able to retain more length within my locks. and also a little bit more thickness. Like I love the size of my locks, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I probably would have just based off of the people that I see who started their locks with a two-strand twist. I love how their locks look, and I wouldn't mind a thicker look. But I love how my locks look also. So I'm not really comparing. I'm just saying, for me, what I want in my lock goals, had I known, I would have started with a two-strand twist because that really would have been perfect for me. Um, you know, I probably would have had a little bit more. I don't know, but I feel like that would have been perfect for me and what I'm trying to achieve and the look that I want. So that's that. I regret bleaching my locks, stripping it from you all of its black original color, to nothing, and I feel like that played a big deal with me getting this gray strand. I seen it earlier. I was looking for it and I seen it earlier, but I don't know. Like my hair, you're probably not gonna be able to find it. I will. I don't know. I'm going to post a picture on my Instagram account, so if you guys want to check it out, you can do that once I take a good picture of it, and I will let you guys know when that is. Um, but yeah, I feel like, you know, I knew that I would be stripping when I was bleaching, but I didn't think I really realized that that's really what I would be doing. Like, oh yeah, I'm bleaching my hair, whatever. So like brighten it up so I can get the color that I want. But no, it's a little bit more than that to me. Like thinking about it now, it's like wow, like you really stripped, your color, your natural color out of your hair, and it can never go back to that. So that's the part that I'm a little bit bugged out by. So I wish that instead of me bleaching, that I used boxed dye and gradually, dyed my way to the color that I wanted. But I'm a girl that acts on impulse. So what I wanted at that time, I wanted instantly, and that's what I got. So yeah, and it still ain't even the color that I really really wanted. You feel me? So there goes that. Like I still feel like, I'm trying to chill, but I still want more. So brighter highlights before I get my ombre and then before I go jet black. Like that's what I plan on doing. So um, yeah, so like I'm just chilling right now. I'm trying to be nice, but I know moving forward I will be using box dye. I am never using bleach again to achieve any kind of color. I'm probably lying. When I get that ombre, I'm probably am gonna use bleach again, but I regret doing that. Honestly, like dang, I really stripped my color. But if I can find a new way to get the color that I want and gradually work my way there with the box dye, that's what I'm going to do. So that just involves more research, or probably just going to an actual beautician who specializes in coloring. Okay. Also, I regret picking a random loctician to retwist my locks um, in mid um, lock journey. Now, the person I've talked about her in the past numerous times, the one who did this little crochet here, but she's not really as random. I just never really seen multiple jobs of her work. But I did see that, like at the time, my sister-in-law, she's been using her for years, and I did notice some flaws in my sister-in-law's locks. But the loctician said it was due to stress. So okay, that's understandable because I know stress can weigh a lot on your locks. But I just regret it because I've seen a significant change in my locks from the moment she retwisted my locks. I didn't like how she did it from start to finish. Now the style was cute, but it wasn't really what I wanted. And at the end of the day, overall, I just wish I just, like I didn't like how she retwisted it. I asked her to leave my Cynthia down. She retwisted it into the lock style. I wanted it a certain way. She didn't do it. I requested that she use my locking gel. She told me that she has this concoction that she made that she preferred to use, that it's really good. And she, not prefer to use, but she wanted me to try it. So I tried it. And it turns out it's not anything that she made. It was something that was store bought, and it was beeswax. And I was really upset about that. My hair was so itchy and uncomfortable. I mean, like, it was like, oh my God, like, I ended up having to take it out. I only kept the styling for a week, and I was just being generous. So, I regret that, and I also regret placing my Cynthia's into an updo. I know when I first started in my lock journey, I used to keep them down anytime I did something with my hair, in an updo or any, ponytail, pigtails, whatever, bun. But after she put them into an updo, that's when I've been kind of wearing them into an updo, and I feel like that puts stress on my locks. And that's about it. That's all that I could really think of that really stands out in my lock journey that I regret. Um, Now, for the advice to those considering locks, now pay attention, okay? Because it's going to go there. I prefer, if you are considering locks, that you first try a faux lock hairstyle or like the goddess twist just to get a general idea of how you would look if you have locks. I have had the goddess twists, which are like Marley twists or kinky twists, but like the longer version and slimmer version and a different type of hair used for it. That was the first time that I seen what I may look like with locks, and I loved it. And I did that like back in 2013 and 14. And then last year I tried the full locks, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And 2 months later, if that, I was comb coiled up. Okay, so try a style somewhat similar. And when I say faux locks, do not get the crocheted, like on top of the braid kind of thing. Like, there are crocheted individual locks. Get that done so you can see how you would look, how you would rock it, if it's something that you think you could really do and pull off. um Also, research, research, research. Do your research in and out. Learn, well, follow different YouTube channels or watch different YouTube channels, and, follow different Instagram pages pertaining to or relevant to lock journeys, and, you know, lock community pages. But you want to follow stuff and research stuff in regards to your hair texture and grade, um, admirable size, that lock size that you wish to achieve if you do decide to lock up, like the lock length and size that you wish to achieve. um, and also, um, your future length goals. So you want to follow like Instagram and YouTube pages that, like, if you see like a length that you like, you want to follow them. Also, I would suggest follow people that are like realistic ahead of the game. Like, it's not really that often that I follow people who locks are down to their kneecaps. Like, I have no interest in you. And I don't admire people who have locks down to their butt or, thighs and stuff. Like, I don't wish, and that's just me because that's not my length goal. So I follow people who are relevant to me, like right now or a few months ahead or a year, no more than a year and a half ahead of mine, who have the same hair grade and texture as mine, just so I can get a general idea of how my hair may respond, okay? Also, there are a lot community pages out there. I will name a few. I'm not naming them any particular order. These are just the lock pages that I follow and that I admire. And it's Lock Queens Rock, Lock Queens Only, Lock Living, Lockness Mantra, Counting My Locks, and Locks Intertwined. And that's just to name a few. Like, once you start liking one of them or start following one of their pages on Instagram, other options will come up and you'll see a whole bunch. Like, I Am Locked. There is a number of a bunch of them. So, like, just check it out. Follow the lock pages because it introduces you to other lock kings and queens who are, in their journey. Maybe they just started with you, or a couple of days before you did, or, a year or two before you did. And it introduces you to a world of other lock journey pages where you can follow and be inspired to and be motivated to stay in the game. Um, Also, Google is also a best friend as well. You want to Google lock hair pay. I'm sorry, lock hair care, all natural remedies, because I am a strong believer in the all natural remedy process. And you also want to look for like informational forums and lock websites. So check that out. There's a lot of websites and resources out there that will help aid to your start in the lock community and your lock journey. Finally, lastly, but not, oh no, not even last, but like that's not even it. Okay, so let me chill. But consider the best locking method for your hair type and your lock goals. So like I said, if I thought about, like the grid, like you want to consider the grid pattern. Like mine was a square, traditional square parting. But they also have C parts. They also have diamond parts, handed parts. You want to consider those, and you want to try and follow people who have those type of grid parts so you can see like how that turns out. You also want to consider obviously your locking method, and I started with comb coils. Now the reason why I did decide on comb coils at the time is strictly because the front of my locks are a lot straighter. So I didn't think that if I two strand twisted, my locks would stay. But the comb coils didn't work either. So I just wish that I went with the two strand twist. But you have comb coils, finger coils, which are similar to comb coils, but you're doing it with your fingers. There's a two strand twist that I still forever talk about, and there's a braid slash twist out that you can do. I have seen people that have started their locks with a braid out or a twist out. They just took it out and just let it lock in that way. And that's somewhat kind of like a coil, I guess. Um, there's also interlocking. Usually people that are considering like micro locks, or um, that are considering sister locks, they interlock their locks. There's the instant locking method, is something that is done with a crochet needle. You turn the hair and you just go in and out with the crochet needle, and it instantly locks your locks. Personally, that's a little too instant for me. It takes away um, your journey, even though it takes away from your journey, but you still have a lock journey. It's still a lock journey, don't get me wrong, but it just takes away from your lock journey, speeds up the process rather than going through the ugly stage. And that's what they call it, the ugly or awkward stage. I never had an ugly or awkward stage. um, but yeah, and there's also it's not faux locks,